Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. We know that when we were adding and subtracting whole numbers, that place value and lining up our place values is really important. And the same thing holds true when you're adding or subtracting decimals. So for instance, let's say they gave us a number 47 and 6/10 and asked us to add it to 34 and 7/10. In this case, we have exactly the same number of places. We have digits in the tens, ones, and the tenths places. So it's fairly easy, but what we're going to do is we're going to focus on lining up our decimals. So I know if I put 47 and 6/10 that I need to line up my 34 and 7/10 directly underneath it. So my second decimal point is going to go directly underneath the first decimal point. And I'm going to write my 34 and 7/10 right around it. And from there, it's just the same thing as we've always done. The only difference is that where we have a decimal point here and here, we also have to put a decimal point in our answer, or the sum. So 6 plus 7 is 13. We carry the 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. So we then know that 82 and 3/10 is the answer. And just like when we were doing addition problems with whole numbers, you can check with digital root. 4 plus 7 is 11. 11 plus 6 is 17. 17 is not a digital root, so we have to add the digits together. 1 plus 7 is 8. Then on the next add-in, we have 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. That's not a digital root, so we add 1 and 4 together to get 5. And then because this is an addition problem, we're going to add 8 plus 5 equals 13, and the digital root of 13 is 4. So the digital root of our add-ins is 4. We come down to our sum. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 is not a digital root, but when we add 1 plus 3 together, we get 4, and our digital roots match. So our answer should be correct. Let's do one more problem. And let's say in this one, we don't have the same number of digits. Let's say they gave us 146 and 7/100 and asked us to add it to 24 and 3/10. I'm going to start by writing my largest number because I just like to have the biggest number on top. 146 and 7/100. And we said before we have to line up our decimals. So our decimal point goes right underneath that one. And we're going to write our number around it. So the 4 is in the ones place, so it's going to go under the 6. The 2 is in the tens place, and my 3 is in the tens place. Now, I don't have a digit in the hundredths place here, so because we're adding, we could just assume that that's going to be a 0, or not assume, it's a 0 is just a placeholder. So we're going to add it together. 7 plus 0 is 7. 3 plus 0 is 3. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus nothing is 1. And do not forget to bring down that all-important decimal point. And we can check with digital root. So let's add up all the digits for our first add-in. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 plus 7 is 18. And the digital root of 18, 1 plus 8 is 9. Our second add-in, 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. When we add our two digits together, we get 18, and the digital root of 18 is 9. Now let's check our sum. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 plus 7 equals 18, and the digital root of 18 is 9. So our answers are correct. All right, now let's look at subtracting two decimal numbers. Let's say I've got 47 and 96/100, and it asks me to subtract 21 and 3/10. So in this case, when you're subtracting, you know you always have to put the larger number on top. So when we look at this, and I know I have a 4 in the tens place on my first number and a 2 in the tens place on my second number. So I know that 47 and 96/100 is my larger number. And I'm going to, again, line up my decimal points. So I'm going to put my 21 and 3/10. Now if it makes you feel better, you can put that 0 here at the end of this number so that you have the same number of digits in both spots. And we're going to subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6. 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring down my decimal point. 7 minus 1 is 6. And 4 minus 2 is 2. And just like when we were doing whole numbers, we check by adding the difference to the number right above it. So we've got 26 and 66 hundredths. We're going to add that to 21 and 30 hundredths, or 3/10 if you didn't put the 0. 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. Bring down our decimal point. 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 plus 2 is 4. And they match, so our answer should be correct. Now, again, just like before, it's really important that you line up your decimal points, but you just have to add to that your number that you put on top has to be the bigger number. So let's try one more. Let's do 497 and 3/10. And we're going to subtract from that 39 and 96 hundredths. So again, I can look at my numbers and I know that 497 is larger than 39, so it's my bigger number, so I'm going to write it on top. 497 and 3/10. And I'm going to line up my second number right below it, so I'm going to line up my decimal points. I know that my 39 is going to go right here, and I'm going to have my 96 afterwards. In this case, we have to add a 0 after our 3 because we can't subtract 6 from nothing, and that nothing is just 0. So we're going to subtract. Now, more on the floor. Go next door. I have to borrow from my 3, so my 3 is going to change to a 2. I'm going to add that 10 that I just borrowed to my 0, so it becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. Go to the next place. 2 minus 9, I can't do that. More on the floor. Go next door. My 7 changes to a 6. I'm going to borrow that, or bring that 10 that I just borrowed and add it to my 2, so it becomes a 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. Again, we got to bring down that decimal point. 6 minus 9, I can't do. More on the floor. Go next door. My 9 changes to an 8. My 6 changes to a 16. 16 minus 9 is 7. 8 minus 3 is 5. 4 minus nothing is 4. And I get my answer. I'm going to check it by adding these two together. So 457 and 34 hundredths added to 39 and 96 hundredths. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 3 is 3, carry the 13, carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus 7 is 17, carry the 1. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 4 plus nothing is that, and I have to bring down that decimal point, and it does indeed match that. Now, again, the 0 is not necessary because it's just a placeholder, but it will make your life easier when you're subtracting. So we want to make sure we have the same number of digits. I hope that helps with your addition and subtraction. Please let me know if you have any questions.